and today we will discuss the remaining portion of our poem, Line Written in Early Spring. We are here, we have entered in day 2. As you are seeing on the board, it is quite clear to all of you that what I have written. So today we will discuss the stanza number 3, and I was so happy to see your homework just after the class. When the class was over yesterday, all of a sudden so many students started sending me the homework on my personal WhatsApp ID, and I at the same time forwarded it in the group, official group of your St. Joseph Academy. So I am feeling so excited to do the same thing again and again, that you all are following the path and you all are doing your homework perfectly, but still so many of you are not concentrating. If so many of you all are still not having first step of interest in our online classes. So if you are not interested, then I think your study is going to be hampered. And if you don't want to create any type of problem for yourself and for your family member, you need to be at the proper time and you need to attend the classes. And today, at the end of the classes, you'll have to respond to your attendance in the live chat section by writing your name and section, roll number and class. So from today we will discuss and we will know about the attendance purpose as well. So from today you will mention your name, class, section, roll number in the live chat section, so that it will become quite clear to me that how many you have today joined our online session, our online class. So now we are here to discuss the things that we had left yesterday. So tell me in the live chat section how many stanza yesterday we had completed of the poem Line Written in Early Spring. Tell me. How many chapters, how many stanza we had completed yesterday? Tell me. Okay, so today we will start the Line Written in Early Spring. Line Written in Early Spring, stanza number 2. Yeah. Before going ahead, I just want to remind you about the previous line or stanza, that what was the meaning of the stanza number 1 and the stanza number 2. Okay, Ritika Chaudhary, till stanza second. Okay, till stanza second. Good. Okay, my dear student, listen what I am telling you, that yesterday we were discussing the stanza number 1, and stanza number 1 was all about that the poet was sitting under a tree and he was engrossed in his own thought. And what type of thought he was having? The pleasant thought was coming in his mind. But at the same time, all of a sudden a bad thought comes, that how today mankind has hampered or creating obstacle or hurdle in the way of the nature. They are creating disturbances, they are destroying the nature. And in the second stanza we had told you about the link of the humanity to that very nature. Today we have not linked ourselves perfectly with nature and we are harming. To her fair word did nature link, and we need to link ourselves with nature, and nature also must need to link with us, because nature is already has been linked with us, but we are not linking ourselves with nature. And much it grieved my heart, and thinking this very condition, that we are not linking ourselves with nature, the poet was totally grieved. And he says in the last line of the second stanza, what man has made of man. आज इंसान ने इंसान के लिए ये क्या कर डाला है? What man has made of man. आज इंसान ने इंसान के लिए क्या बना दिया है? So now we will discuss ahead the stanza number 3. Stanza number 3 is what? So may we proceed? Maybe proceed student ahead in the stanza number 3. Tell me. Okay, Saundari is responding yes sir. Okay, now have your attention. I'm reading the line of stanza 3, and stanza 3 possesses of 4 lines. What that very lines means to you, means to us, we will know it here. So stanza number 3 tells you about, I'm reading the line, through primrose tuft in that sweet bower, the periwinkle trails its wrath, and it's my faith that every flower enjoy the air it breathes. So are you paying attention where I am reading? Tell me. Okay. Is the book in front of you? It's open or closed? Okay. So in this stanza, the poet tells you the presence of nature, and the nature is present in between us as a living being, as a living thing. So what here the poet tells us about it in the stanza number 3, the poet tells us about the nature as a living being. In stanza 3, the poet tells us about nature, tells us about nature. The poet tells us about nature as a living being, as a living being. So in this stanza we will know that what the different type of word means, and how the poet is telling us about nature, that nature is also a living being like us. So yes, my dear student, today we will discuss it, and in this very line it is the best way to note down in your copy that here the word, here this time in the movement verb is used trailed, trailed for the periwinkle, trailed for the periwinkle means to say breathe for the flowers. Here you are saying trailed, the periwinkle trailed its wreath. Wreath means to say mala, फूलों की mala. So here the trailed, the verb trailed for the periwinkle is used. What it means? It means breathe for the flowers. It means breathe for the flowers. So what it means? If the flower is breathing, so it means that flower is also a part of nature, and it is nature. So you can say flower is breathing. It means that flower is a living being. So is it clear that how the poet tells you about nature, that nature is also a living being by giving you the example of flowers which breathes. And here the line which you are seeing, the second line of the third stanza, the periwinkle trailed it wreath. It means what? Wreath of flowers. Wreath of flowers means to say फूलों की mala that grew along the ground, and how it is growing. That very flower is growing, breathing, just like a human being. So in this third stanza, the poet tells you what? That nature is also like a living being. Is it clear to all of you? And it's my faith that every flower enjoy the air it breathes. So this one is the second two line of the third stanza, that the flowers are enjoying this very air. The flowers are enjoying the air, and how? The flowers are enjoying air by breathing in it. So it indicates that in the third stanza, the poet tells us about nature as a living being, and this one is the proof. And what is the proof here? And the proof is that very flower, which is like a breathing human being, and it is giving you the breathing system, respiratory system, just like the human being, and it is enjoying the air. And in which way the air is going to be enjoyed by the flask? In the form of breathing. Is it clear to all of you? So here the William Wordsworth has created an idea of a living, breathing world that is only a fraction removed from humanity. But this all thing has been removed from the humanity. So we can say that the poet does his best, the poet does his best to create the idea, to create the idea of a living, create idea of a living, breathing world, breathing world that is only a fraction, that is only a fraction removed from humanity, removed from humanity. So that very fraction is only for that very humanity, and that very fraction is also removed. Means to say, today human is not going to understand that very thing, that how we are linked with nature. Nature are also living, but they are harming and creating destruction. So my dear student, is it clear to you? Stanza number 3, I have paraphrased the stanza, that what the stanza is all about. So is it clear to you, stanza number 3? Okay. Okay, Risika, Saundari, Priyadarshi, Amarjeet. Okay. Okay, now note it down in your copy from board, so that after rubbing it we will move ahead. May I rub the board? Aditya, Beauty Kumari, yes sir. Okay. Ankita Pandit, yes sir. Deepak Kumar, yes sir. Okay, this was the paraphrase of stanza number 3. Now we are moving to the stanza number 4. So you need to have your attention on your book. What the stanza number 4 is. Firstly, we will read the line orally in a rough way. Then we will try to do the same thing with the stanza number 4. What we have did with the stanza number 3 in the same way. Is it clear to all of you? Okay. Now stanza number 4. Have your attention on stanza number 4. What the stanza number 4 is clear. Stanza number 3 paraphrase has been written here, so you need to note it down in your copy. Okay, I am rubbing the board. Okay. Now we are coming to the stanza number 4. What the stanza number 4 is all about. Stanza number 4 is, now I am reading stanza number 4, listen. The birds around me hoped and played. Hoped means to say to jump, khudakna. चिड़िया खुदकती है ना, hopping, hopping, that is known as khudakna. So the bird around me hoped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seems a thrill of pleasure. So my dear student, this stanza number 4 tells you what? This stanza number 4 tells you what? This stanza number 4 tells you once more the presence of nature in the form of birds. Birds, animals, these all are also nature. These all you can term as nature. And here once again, the presence of movement draws a stark contrast with the immobile poet. The poet is immobile. You can mention me how the poet is immobile. Immobile means to say fixed, stationary. Because he is sitting, lying back under a tree. It indicates what? The poet is immobile. Here, the poet again gives us the presence of nature's movement and this nature movement is just the contrasting with the immobile poet. और ये नेचर का मूवमेंट जस्ट पोएट के उल्टा है, क्योंकि नेचर मूव कर रहा है और पोएट क्या है? स्थिर बैठा है. Is it clear? Of nature's movement contrasting with the immobile poet, contrasting with the immobile means to say fixed, immobile poet. And how this time the movement of the nature has been described in this stanza number 4 in the form of a bird. It is nature that draws the reader's attention. How? So much has been said about it that it renders the speaker poet nearly on non-entity. It means to say he has no presence in the poem, no thought, no personality, no idea. His world is subsumed by the stronger one of nature. He is engrossed, he is living in no world, but he is having such type of thing and sitting under the tree and enjoying the movement of the nature, sometime in the form of flowers, which was in stanza number 3, and sometime in the form of the bird, which is in stanza number 4. So in stanza number 4 tells you what? He sees the bird around me. पक्षी उसके चारों तरफ है. And that very bird is hopping and playing. वो फुदक कर खेल रही है. Hopping and playing. Their thoughts I cannot measure. और ये पोएट बोलता है कि उन पक्षियों के मन में क्या विचार है मैं उसके बारे में नहीं जान सकता. But the least motion which they made, लेकिन उन पक्षियों के द्वारा वो जो हरकत, वो जो एक्टिविटी किया जा रहा है, and that very activities of hopping and playing, it seem a thrill of pleasure. ये लगता है कि वो एक्टिविटी करके वो पक्षी अपने आप को रोमांचित और अपने आप को खुश रखने की कोशिश उस काम को करके कर रहा है. So in the stanza number 3, what type of the movement he sees of the nature? He sees the bird, the bird's motion, the bird's motion, the bird's motion. And what type of motion it is? Hopping and playing. Hopping and playing. Hopping and playing. The bird's motion, hopping and playing, which is the least motion, which is the least motion by which they have a thrill of pleasure. They have a thrill of pleasure. So my dear student, this one was the para fourth explanation which I have written on the board. So you need to note it down in your copy that what I have written. So I think the para stanza number 4 is quite clear that in stanza number 3 again the poet who is stationary, who is fixed, who is immobile, is having a contrasting situation with the movement of the nature. And this time in para third, what type of movement of the nature it has been shown? It has been shown in the form of the motion of a bird, and that very bird is doing what? Hopping and playing, and it is the least motion that was done by the bird which they are doing for a thrill of pleasure. Is it clear to all of you? Para number fourth. Tell me, is the para number 4 clear to all of you? Okay. Okay, Mayank, Shiv Shankar, all of you are here. Today, at the end of the online session, you will have to mention your name, roll number, class, and I will take the screenshot and will share in the group. So from today, attendance is must. Thrill means to say romance, and pleasure means to say suhavana ehsas. No, not now. At the end we will do attendance work. So may I rub the board? Is the para number 4 clear to all of you? Tell me. Okay, tell me, may I clear the board? Okay, now we are moving to the stanza number 5. So have your attention. Stanza number 5. Which is the second last stanza of the poem. Stanza number 5. Now I am reading the stanza number 5, and in the same way we will paraphrase, we will explain the stanza. So have your attention. Stanza number 5 is the building twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air, and I must do all I can that there was pleasure there. So in stanza number 5, in stanza number 5, what the poet is saying? In stanza number 5, as you are saying, that the poet is telling about the budding twigs. Twigs are the soft part and soft and new produced leaf of a tree. Soft and newly born leaves on a tree is known as twigs. So the budding twigs spread out their fan day by day on the plant. That very new leaves, which is so soft, is coming out and spreading all around on the tree. This one is the meaning of the first line of the stanza number 5. To catch the breezy air, and they all are growing why? To catch the air, the breeze which is blowing all around, and they also want to breathe in it. And I must think, and the poet at the same time seeing that very budding twigs and seeing to catch that very breezy air by that very budding twigs, the poet thinks also what? Do all I can, कि मैं जो कर सकता हूँ मैं करूँगा. That there was pleasure there, and in seeing these all things, he is attaining a lots of pleasure by sitting under the tree and watching these all fantasy, watching these all things of the nature was giving him too much of pleasure. So my dear student, in the fifth, what the poet is saying, here again he is telling you about the nature, and this time so fast, which is spreading so fast, which is spreading so fast to catch the breezy air, to catch the breezy air. And these all are the scene that was watched by the poet himself, and he is watching. And he is also promising that I will do everything to make nature a wonderful one. So in stanza third, the poet is taking pleasure. The poet is taking pleasure by sitting under the tree and watching these all scenes. So my dear student, this one was the paraphrase of stanza number 5. In this stanza, the poet describes the newly sprouted green twigs which is spreading so fast to catch the breezy air. And the poet is taking pleasure by sitting under the tree and watching these all scenes. So is it clear to you? Stanza number 5 is clear to all of you or not? Tell me. Tell me, student, is the stanza number 5th clear to all of you? What the stanza number 5th tells you and what the poet is trying to tell you about the nature and what type of scene it has been watched by the poet there by sitting under the tree? Okay. So may I proceed ahead and move to the stanza number 6, which is going to be the last stanza of this very poem, line written in early spring. So mention yes or no in the live chat section so that I will proceed ahead. I will proceed. Okay. Okay. Is it clear to all of you? Have you noted down everything from the board? Okay, Beauty, Risika, Basudev, Saundarya, Rahul. Okay, now this one is going to be the final stanza of your poem, line written in early spring. So you need to be alert and cautious because after this there are so many things, so many exercises and works related to the poem that you will have to do in your homework. Okay, now moving to the stanza number 6. Stanza number 6, the last and the final stanza. Now, I am reading the line of the stanza number 6, so you need to listen and also you need to keep your eye there on the book if you have the book in front of you. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? Again, there was a repetition of the line, what man has made of man. Yes? So in this last stanza, which is stanza number 6, the poet tells you, here in the last stanza, He is lamenting. Lamenting means to say शोक मनाना, विलाप करना. Lamenting means to say शोक, विलाप करना. That is the meaning of lamenting. In the last stanza, the poet is lamenting. On what things, on which thing he is lamenting? Have I not reason to lament? अब पोएट ये बोलता है क्या मेरे पास कारण नहीं है कि मैं दुख मनाऊं, विलाप करूं, शोक मनाऊं? क्यों? क्योंकि मानव ने मानव के लिए ये क्या कर डाला। और उसी चीज को जब मैं सोचता हूं कि मानव ने आज मानव के लिए क्या कर डाला है, उसी बात को सोचकर मुझे शोक मनाने का मन करता है कि मानव ने इस प्रकृति के ऊपर कितना अत्याचार किया है। मानव ने अपने लालच और अपने स्वार्थ को अंजाम देने के लिए इस प्रकृति का दोहन किया है, इस प्रकृति को अपने रूप से ढाला है, और ये प्रकृति उसके लिए तैयार नहीं थी, लेकिन इस मानव ने अपने कारण उस प्रकृति को नुकसान पहुंचाया, अपने स्वार्थ और अपने लालच के कारण। तो इसी चीज को लेकर यहां पर पोएट जो है लास्ट में जाते जाते एक सैड एंडिंग है इस पोएम का, और पोएट जो है लैमेंटिंग करना स्टार्ट करते हैं। सो यू कैन से दैट इन स्टैंजा नंबर 6 द पोएट is lamenting. The poet is lamenting means to say to express sorrow, to express sorrow. शोक व्यक्त कर रहा है। Why he is lamenting? It's because of the act done by the human, means to say what man has made of man. On this very topic he is lamenting. And throughout the poem there was the attempt by nature to heal the injured soul of the poem. हमने देखा कि इस पोयम में उस कवि के हृदय में जो चोट पहुंचा है प्रकृति के प्रति दूसरे मानवों के रवैये को देखकर, इस पूरे पोयम में ये कोशिश की गई है, और नेचर ने ये कोशिश की है कि उसके उस जख्मी दिल को भर दिया जाए, उसके जख्मी दिल को मरहम दिया जाए, और मरहम लगाने का इस नेचर ने पूरे पोयम में पोएट के हृदय पर काम किया। कैसे किया है? कभी फूलों को देखकर, कभी पक्षियों को देखकर, कभी नए नए कोमल कोमल पत्तों को देखकर। तो ये सारी चीजें जो पोएट के हृदय पर घात की हुई थी हर चीज को लेकर, जिससे वो शोक मना रहा था, इन चीजों को लेकर प्रकृति ने उसके उस घाव पर मरहम लगाने का काम किया। And to heal the injured soul of the poet, near the end, despite the best effort of nature herself, the poet speaker's spirit are still melancholy. और इस लास्ट स्टैंजा में हम कह सकते हैं the poet mood is in melancholy. वो sad है, his best effort can't stop human from disturbing the nature, and best effort of nature herself, despite of that very best effort, the poet's spirit are still melancholy. In the last, you can say the poet spirits, the poet spirits are still melancholy. Melancholy means to say sad. Melancholy, despite the best effort of the nature, despite the best effort of नेचर। तो यहां पर प्रकृति ने अपना पुरजोर कोशिश लगा दिया, लेकिन फिर भी उस पोएट के उदास मन को, उस पोएट के विलाप करते हुए मन को सही नहीं कर पाया, क्योंकि आज पोएट बहुत दुखी है प्रकृति के साथ जिस तरह का व्यवहार हो रहा है। It ends on a somber, sad note. So this poem ends with a sad note. The world of nature, untouched by the misery of humanity, continues on while the human soul, bound in its risks of mortality and reason, is left behind the experience of the misery of the world. And in the last segment, it is quite clear to all of you that the poet himself is not having a belief on himself, that why the man has made this for man, and he is lamenting over this very topic, and despite the best effort of the nature, which the nature is trying to heal its wounds, the nature is failed in healing the wounds of the poet, and the poet is totally disheartened, lamenting, is in melancholy mood, that he is lamenting over this very topic, that why we have done this and why we are destructing the nature again and again. And this very poem ends with a sad note. So you can say that's the reason why the poet is asking that I have a solid reason to lament. मेरे पास एक ठोस सबूत है कि मैं मिलाप क्यों ना करूं. क्यों? क्योंकि मनुष्य ने मनुष्य के लिए ही गलती की है और नेचर के साथ इस तरह का दोहरा रवैया अपनाया है, जिससे नेचर को दिन प्रतिदिन नुकसान हो रहा है. और इसी चीज को लेकर लास्ट स्टैंजा में, स्टैंजा नंबर 6 में पोएट जो है शोक व्यक्त करते हैं मानव के इस रवैये को लेकर. And he is thinking about this all thing and creating a mood of suspicion. What? That the poem ends with a sad tone. A sad tone given by the poet by saying what man has made of man. What man has made of man. So this one was the paraphrase of the last stanza. So this one was the last paraphrase of the poem, which is stanza number 6. That in this stanza, the poet is lamenting. Lamenting is to expressing sorrow. And why is he lamenting? It's because of the nature of human. The nature of human towards the nature. The nature of human towards the nature. On this topic, he is lamenting, and this poem ends with a sad tone, and that very sad tone was given by the poet. And what type of sad tone? By saying that what man has made of man, कि एक इंसान ने एक दूसरे इंसान के लिए क्या बनाया. And this was the completion of your poem. So if you have any problem related to the poem from stanza 1 to stanza 6, then you may ask any type of question in the live chat section. Okay, Nikita, Shiv Shankar, Saundarya, Vasu, no problem. So have you noted down everything from the board? Is the word later written on the board is quite visible to all of you? Everything is visible or not? Okay. Now, after the completion of this very poem, now it's time for your homework, and you'll have to listen perfectly what you have to do. As we are exceeding our time limit of 40 minutes, so very soon I am going to give you the homework, and after that your attendance will be there. You will have to complete this very poem, and what you have to do, you will have to bring the summary of the whole poem. Then all the exercise on page number 84, page number 85 and page number 86. So this one is your homework from page 84 to 86. Homework page 84 to 86. So note it down, this one is your homework for the chapter Lines Written in Early Spring Poem. Homework page 84 to 86. So is it clear what your homework is? Tell. Is it clear what your homework is? Okay. Now it's time for your attendance. So mention your name, roll number, class, everything. Quick. Mayank, yes, I have received the attendance of Mayank. Risikas also. Quickly. Ankita also, Aditya Ranjan also. Nikita, Aditya, Shivam, Deepak, Simran, Adil, Trisan, Aditya Ranjan, Basudev, Beauty, Atul Kumar, Saundarya. All of you are giving me the responses. Please make your attendance as quick as possible because we are going to end this very online session. Only we are waiting for the roll number and the attendance. Beauty Kumari, Aryan Raj, any more are here? Okay. So thanks student for joining me and for cooperating me in completing the poem, the lines written in early spring. Hope you all have enjoyed it a lot, and on the basis of our today's online discussion, you will have to complete your homework. And I just want to wish you a happy Makar Sankranti from my side. Enjoy this very festive season. It's today and also tomorrow with your family members, and at the same time you will have to complete your homework also. So meet you very soon on the same, at the same time, at the same place and at the same channel. See you soon. Before that, I'm leaving here. It's a message from my side that you need to take care of yourself and your family member. It's a final goodbye to all of you. Jai Hind, and it's bye from my side.